Good evening to all the students of ICAI present across India. I'm Dr. C. Anirvinna today to discuss the other technical unit called trade negotiation. This is a technical unit, okay? This chapter is completely technical, and I made a simple and beautiful PPTs, okay? And this chapter is slightly more technical actually, because and very important chapter. And I made a PPT, go through the PPT, and RATA is the best option. Okay, it's very technical, right? WTO negotiations and WTO trade agreements is a very technical chapter, but I made a beautiful PPT, right? Go through my slides, okay? Go through my slides after the lecture also, and try to understand what I teach. Also very technical, okay? There's nothing much you can do about this unit, okay? Now, few days back, I discussed with you that Indian economy, world economy was hit by pandemic from 2019, later part of the 2019, and so when 2019, when world economy was hit by pandemic, world trade got affected. World trade got affected because of the pandemic. Okay, now when things are looking back normal, this Russia invasion of Ukraine, right? That really further affected the world trade. Okay, now that really affected the world trade. Russia invasion of Ukraine, that is going to cause problems for the world economy, including India. India imports oil from Russia. India imports fertilizers. India imports palm oil. So all these items are going to be expensive, right? Now, in fact, World Trade Organization has predicted that world trade, the global world trade will down from 4.7% to 2.5%. Okay, so because of this, because of the pandemic and Russia invasion of Ukraine, the world trade, the global trade will come down in 2022 from 4.7% to 2.5%. Okay, now international trade, something is very low. There are 164 countries on the part of the World Trade Organizations. They always have conflicts. Okay, when you have a conflicts, there should be negotiations. Okay, and there is a lot of disconnect between the developed countries and developing countries. Developing countries' aspirations are something else. Developed countries' aspirations are something else. Okay, and though developing countries are number of countries, the number of developing countries more in the total number of countries in WTO, still there is always a disconnect, okay, and a disagreement between developed countries and developing countries. And two important things you need to remember here is, India backed out from RCEP, right? Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, okay? RCP, India backed out from RCP in 2019 because RCP includes China, right? So apart from Asian countries, it includes Australia, Canada, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, and New Zealand, right? So all the Asian countries, okay, and China, Australia, Canada, and Indonesia, Japan, Korea, New Zealand, all these countries. So because of China, India came out of RCP, right? RCP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, and everybody is saying that India did a mistake. India could have been part of this treaty, and India would have gained a lot in the international trade. So this was the argument because of China, because India thought China would exploit India if India is part of the RCEP. Okay. In fact, China also wants to increase its trade with India. That's why they proposed this RCEP trade pact. And so 2020, right? 2020 January, right? What happened? Britain made an exit from the European Union, right? Britain made an exit from the European. That is also hamper the world trade, right? And third important thing is India, this 2022, India had a trade pact with UAE. India had a trade pact with Australia, and Boris Johnson, England Prime Minister, visited last week or 10 days back to India. So India and England also are coming with a trade partnership, right? So three major countries, India developed a trade partnership. One is UAE and Australia, and England is going to be executed by this year, right? So trade, I told you, very, very, very complex and very technical subject, okay, and very technical subject. Clear? So let us go to what we are going to learn from this unit, right? So what we are going to learn from this unit is distinguish between different types of regional trade agreements. Okay, outline the course of history of trade negotiations, describe the structure and guiding principles of the WTO, given an overview of WTO agreements, list out major concerns in respect of functioning of the WTO. Okay, so these are the major content we are going to cover today. So repeat again: distinguish between different types of regional trade agreements, outline the course of history of trade negotiations, describe the structure and guiding principles of the WTO, give an overview of the WTO agreements, list out major concerns in respect of functioning of the WTO. Okay, so try to follow me, and we're getting into a very technical chapter. Okay, so I told countries have been recognizing the importance of international trade. Okay, countries have been recognizing the importance of international trade. They know international trade acts as an economic growth. Okay, now countries are part of the bilateral trade agreements, multilateral trade agreements. Okay, and India also been part of 19 such trade agreements. Okay, and more negotiations are underway. That's why I told India is going to have trade agreement with UAE, Australia, England. Okay, so but the world economy, right? The world economy, okay, continues to witness trade war between China and US, and India and China, and Britain leaving from European Union, and NAFTA became United Mexico-Canada Agreement. Okay, and so these are the unpredictable things are happening with regard to world trade. Very unpredictable things are happening, and added to this, I told Russia invasion of Ukraine, right, further added to the complex of the trade. Okay, now, and I told international trade rules and regulations are very complex, and very complex and very technical in nature. Okay, so we're discussing regional trade agreements. Okay, regional agreement, a group of countries, certainly not from same geographical region, and they form a trade agreement with the objective of reducing trade barriers between the member countries. Okay, I repeat again, a group of countries not necessarily from same geographical region, and which are formed with the objective of reducing trade barriers between the member countries. Okay, so NAFTA is the example of regional trade agreements, right? If you take Canada, Mexico, US, they're all they come under almost neighbor countries, right? So regional trade agreement, right? Now, unilateral trade agreements. Okay, so unilateral. Okay, now look at here. Unilateral agreement is what? An importing country supports the exporting country. Okay, an importing country supports the exporting country and offers a lot of trade incentives. Okay, now you see, importing country, India is an importing country providing incentives for the exporting country. Okay, what importing country provides? Importing country provides trade incentives. Okay, trade incentives. Okay, so trade incentives means what? Maybe low tariffs or and any concession. Okay, now I'm doing this to encourage the exporting country. Okay, I'm encouraging to support the activities that is happening in the exporting country. Okay, so generalized system of preferences. Okay, generalized system of preferences where developing countries, okay, 42 developing countries actually have been involved, Okay, generalized system of trade preferences where developing countries are supporting each other, okay, under unilateral trade agreements. Bilateral trade agreements, okay, bilateral trade agreements between the countries, okay. Now to promote trade and investment, okay, bilateral trade agreements between the countries to promote trade and investment, okay. So if you want to promote trade investment, what you have to do? You have to eliminate, okay, all tariffs or any import quotas. What is import quotas? Beyond this, you're not allowed to import. Okay, and eliminate import quotas and any export restraints. Okay, all these need to be removed. Okay, so why you are removing? You are removing tariff barriers, export constraints, and import quotas. All these were doing to promote the trade and investment between the countries. So Europe Union Japan Economic Partnership Agreement 2018, they have this agreement, bilateral trade agreement. Europe Union and Japan Economic Partnership Agreement 2018, they have this agreement. And China and ASEAN, okay, China and ASEAN, right? So all South Asian nations and 10 Asian member countries, right? China and ASEAN have this kind of a bilateral trade agreements. Now, regional preferential trade agreements. Okay, so a group of countries, they come together and reduce trade barriers on a reciprocal or preferential basis. Okay, only for the members of the group. Okay, so regional preferential trade agreement means it's an agreement among a group of countries to reduce trade barriers. Okay, and on reciprocal and preferential basis only for the member countries. So global system of trade preferences among developing countries. Okay, again GSP. Again, developing countries have this kind of a regional preferential trade agreements. Okay, now trading block. Okay. So trading block. Okay, these are the various types of regional trade agreements. Okay, you need to learn by heart. You need to by heart this. Okay, I made a simple PPT for you to easy to understand. Okay, so trading block. Okay, and a group of countries, they have free trade agreement among themselves, but may apply a common external tariff to other countries. Okay, so a group of countries, okay, they have free trade agreement among themselves, but apply common external tariff to other countries. Okay, now Arab League and European Free Trade Association (EFTA). They are the examples of trade bloc where under Arab League and European Free Trade Association, where member countries, okay, they have free trade agreements. Free trade agreements what? No tariff barriers. Okay, no tariff barriers, but they apply common external tariff to other countries. Okay, member countries have no tariff barriers, but they apply common external tariff. Okay, whatever tariff they're going to impose on other countries, it is common. Okay, so free trade area. Okay, free trade area. Okay, free trade area where a group of countries agree to abolish all trade restrictions and barriers and among themselves, or charge a low tariff, okay, and charge a low tariff while carrying out the international trade. Okay, while carrying out the international. Okay, so look at here, a group of countries agree to abolish all trade restrictions and barriers and among themselves, or charge a low tariff. Okay, charge a low tariff in carrying out international trade is called free trade area. Okay, these countries impose barriers and restrictions with other non-member countries. Okay, so all countries which come under free trade area, okay, they abolish all trade barriers and restrictions. Okay, and while carrying out international trade, but these countries, Okay, these countries impose various trade restrictions with regard to non-member countries. Non-member countries. So NAFTA, ASEAN, OFTA, they are the examples of free trade area. Custom union. Okay, very important thing. Custom union. Okay. So again, how to remember? You need to remember for this part. Okay. You see, first part is common. So first part is common. A group of countries agree to abolish. Okay. This you need to remember. Okay. Look at it. First part gets repeated. First part. So all member countries agree to abolish all trade restrictions and barriers among themselves or charge a low tariff in carrying out international trade. But these countries have a common commercial policy of barriers and restrictions jointly with regard to trade with non-member countries. Okay. So this you need to remember this. Please understand. This first part gets repeated. Please understand. Free trade area first part gets repeated. Okay. See, getting repeated here. You see. Okay. So member countries agrees to abolish all trade restriction barriers among or charge low tariff in carrying out international trade. But these countries have a common commercial policy. This is a new part. This is a new part. Okay. This is a new part. This only part you need to remember. This part you have to add. But they adopt a common commercial policy of barriers and restrictions jointly with regard to trade with non-member countries. So the custom union is advanced in degree in comparison with free trade area. Okay. So the great example for common union is Eurasian Economic Union. Okay. States located Eastern Europe. Okay. And Western Asia, Central Asia, namely Russia, Armenia, and Belarus, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan. Okay, so this is an example of EAU. Okay, so Eurasian Economic Union, right, is an example for commercial policy. Okay, now common market. See, again, first point gets repeated. You see, this first point, look at it. This point gets repeated. Okay, this point here, point in free trade area, point in custom union. Okay, they get repeated here. Again, you see, all member countries agrees to abolish all tariff barriers and restrictions, charge low tariff while carrying out international trade. Okay, and this point also gets repeated. You see, this point, commercial, they adopt a common commercial policy. Okay, what is commercial policy? Foreign trade policy. Okay, so look at this point also gets repeated here. You see, second one gets repeated. So these countries adopt a common commercial policy with regard to barriers and restrictions jointly with regard to trade with non-member countries. Okay, okay, non-member countries. Okay, now what is the specialty of our common market? This common market allows free movement of capital, human resources among the member countries. See, first two are common. So what is the specialty of common market? They allow free movement of capital, human resources among the member countries. So thus common market is superior to custom union. Okay, thus common market is superior to custom market, custom union. Okay, so European common market. Okay, so repeat again. This is very important. You need to know. First, you need to remember free trade area, where a group of countries abolish all trade restrictions and barriers or charge low tariff, but while carrying out international trade, but these countries impose barriers and restrictions with regard to other non-member countries. Okay, this is free trade area. NAFTA, ASEAN, and OFTA. Custom union, first point gets repeated. These countries abolish all trade restrictions and barriers and are charged low tariff while carrying out international trade. And these countries adapt common commercial policy with regard to non-member countries. Okay, okay. So custom union is advanced form of free trade area. The best example is Eurasian Economic Union. Okay. If you're not able to write the states, leave it, but example you need to write. So Eurasian Economic Union is enough. If you want, if you're able to write the states, fine. Now we are going to the another advanced form. Advanced form of custom union is common market, where all member countries try to abolish all trade barriers and restrictions, charge low tariff with regard to member countries. These countries have a common commercial policy with regard to non-member countries. These first 2 points gets repeated of the custom union. Okay, and what is specialty about the common market? They allow free movement of capital and human resources among the member countries. So European common market is the example. Okay, please go through the PPT. Okay, very technical chapter. Okay, but I made a nice PPT for you. Okay, I'm going to, don't worry, I'm going to upload the PPT. Okay, economic union. You see, try to follow me here. It's a very important point, right? So custom union is superior to free trade area. Okay, common market is superior to custom union, and economic union is superior to common market. Okay, clear? Custom union is superior to free trade area, common market is superior to custom union, and economic union is superior to common market. Okay, again, economic union. All member countries abolish all trade restrictions and barriers with regard to member countries, or charge a low tariff while carrying out international trade. These countries adopt a common commercial policy with regard to non-member countries. Okay, these countries allow free movement of human capital and free movement of capital and human resources among the member countries. What is the specialty of economic union? These countries have a common monetary policy and fiscal policy. So economic policy is superior to common market. European Union is the best example of economic union. Clear, guys? Clear? Okay, repeat again. Okay, free trade area, you need to remember this definition. Okay, and custom union. Okay, again, first point gets repeated here. What is specialty about custom union? They have a common commercial policy with regard to other non-member countries. Okay, common barriers and restrictions with regard to other non-member countries. Now, common market, again, first point is common. They agree to abolish all trade restrictions and barriers, charge low tariff while carrying out international trade with member countries. Okay, but these countries adopt a common commercial policy and barriers and restrictions jointly with regard to trade with non-member countries, but they allow free movement of capital and human resources among the member countries. So economic union, first 2-3 points are common. What is uncommon? The uncommon thing is they have a common monetary policy, fiscal policy for the member countries. European Union is the best example. Okay, now we'll move to GATT. Okay, GATT. Okay, so when world trade started, okay, so there is a body called General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. Okay, so General Agreement on Tariff and Trade. Okay, so GATT period was 1948 to 1994. Okay, so they provided the rules for the world trade. Okay, and GATT, you need to remember, GATT considered only goods. Okay, so between 1948 1994 there was no much services, only goods. Okay, only goods. Okay, but GATT ruled the world trade. Okay, GATT is the body, okay, which looked after the world trade, and actual international trade growth happened rapidly. But the eighth round of Uruguay round, okay, eighth round happened. What is the period? 1986 and 94, eighth period of Uruguay round. What happened? That resulting in the birth of World Trade Organization. Okay, they thought that GATT cannot fulfill the needs of the world trade because of dynamic changes have happened. What are the dynamic changes happened? Service sector started growing for all the economies of the world. Intellectual property rights have come. Okay, and we require a trade dispute mechanism. We require a trade negotiation mechanism. So we need a trade dispute mechanism, trade negotiation mechanism. We need to include services. We need to include intellectual property rights. Okay, so they thought GATT can no longer serve the world trade. So they replaced GATT with World Trade Organizations. Some of the principles of GATT have been included. I'm not saying that completely they dismantled GATT, but some of the principles of GATT have been included. But they replaced GATT with WTO, World Trade Organizations. Okay, 164 countries are the members of the GATT. Okay, so it includes goods, and it includes services, and it includes intellectual property and trade dispute. Mansha, common monetary policy, fiscal policy means, look at here, India has its own monetary policy, fiscal policy. Pakistan has its own monetary policy and fiscal policy. Okay, and Sri Lanka has its own monetary policy, fiscal policy. It means India monetary policy looked after by central bank, fiscal policy by government of India. Similarly, Pakistan fiscal policy looked after by their government and monetary policy by their central bank. Similarly, Sri Lanka monetary policy looked after by their central bank and fiscal policy looked after by Sri Lankan government. USA monetary policy looked after by Federal Reserve, we call it Fed, and fiscal policy looked after by government. With regard to European Union, okay, all the member countries have a common monetary policy, fiscal policy. Okay, so European Union, you take Italy, Germany, Spain. Okay, you take all the countries, France, they have a common monetary policy, fiscal policy means they have common central bank. They have a common central bank and they have a common fiscal policy, but in reality, each government follows their own fiscal policy. On paper, generally, they have a common central bank, but each government tries to follow their own fiscal policy because you take Italy, Italy is very stronger country. Germany is a very stronger country, okay, compared to other countries, okay. But on paper, they written common monetary policy, common fiscal policy. Mansha, I'm able to clear a doubt. See, now it includes merchandise, goods, services, intellectual property rights, and trade dispute settlement mechanism. Okay, now structure of WTO, right? So structure of WTO, right? You have ministerial conference, highest body, and general council, second level body, and you see goods council, service council, and IP council, intellectual property council, right? Ministerial conference, general council, and goods council, and service council, and intellectual property council, right? So the structure of the body has three layers. Ministerial conference, topmost body. Now, second level is general council. Third level is goods council, service council, intellectual property council. Okay. Now, ministerial conference. Okay. Ministerial conference. Okay. Ministerial conference. Right. So, topmost body. Okay. Okay. And of the WTO, topmost body is ministerial conference. Okay. And it meets once in 2 years. Meets once in 2 years. General council. Okay, the second level, I told you, no. Okay, now it comprises members, ambassadors, heads of delegations, and okay, it comprises members and ambassadors and heads of delegation. It meets several times in a year in Geneva. Okay, so other councils. Okay, so third level. Okay, so there are many other types of councils like goods council, service council, intellectual property council. These councils deal with specific issues. Any issues, if any country has problem with goods export and import, or if any country has problem with export and import of services, or any country is facing problem with intellectual property right, now they have to meet under this council to resolve the dispute. Okay, so if countries has any dispute with regard to trade of goods and services and intellectual property rights, they have to meet under other councils to resolve their disputes. Okay, now I told you, no. So WTO, World Trade Organization, contributes what? 95% of the trade. Okay, I told you 164 member countries are there, which includes predominantly developing countries. Out of 164, 117 countries are developing countries. 117 countries are developing countries. Okay, now, so the Secretariat of WTO is based in Geneva, Switzerland, and who is the boss of WTO? Director General. The present Director General of WTO is Robert Azevedo. Okay, Robert Azevedo. I think he's from South Africa. Okay, so he is the Director General of WTO. WTO is the Director General. Okay, Robert Azevedo is the correct Director General of WTO. So why WTO has been framed? Okay, why WTO has been framed? Right, WTO has been framed. Okay, the purpose of World Trade Organization. So first purpose of WTO is what? Now, if World Trade Organization is there and 164 member countries are the members of WTO, you need to frame the rules, right? Why you are framing the rules? How to carry out the trade in respect of goods, services, okay, and intellectual property rights. How to carry out the trade? Okay, all member countries require a rule book. Why you require rule book? How to carry out the trade with regard to goods, services, intellectual property rights, right? Now, and all member countries meet WTO, right? When they meet, you require a table, you require a platform, right? So for what? For negotiating. Okay, India will negotiate with member countries that so and so country is imposing higher tariff barriers and we are not able to export the goods to that country, or okay, or we say that US is importing charging lot of import duties and we are not able to export the commodity to US, China or Germany. Okay, so it provides a negotiating table, right? You negotiate with member countries in the presence of WTO authorities. You try to negotiate. Okay, सर वीडियो बंद हो गया बोल रहे सर वीडियो इज फाइन हेलो वीडियो इज फाइन Akanshil video is fine hello sir are you there okay you require a negotiating and monitoring forum right now 164 member countries are there, out of which 117 countries are developing countries. There could be a lot of trade disputes. These disputes need to be resolved. Okay, and WTO as a body has to ensure transparency in decision making. WTO has to see that all trade conflicts are resolved and settled and facilitate smooth trade among the member countries. Okay, WTO has to ensure transparency in decision making process. Okay. Mansha, Bretton Woods collapsed. Okay, Bretton Woods system now collapsed. That question is irrelevant here. It is collapsed, and we no longer use gold as a currency. Gold replaced by dollar. Okay, gold replaced by dollar. Bretton Woods system collapsed. Okay, so Bretton Woods system was there earlier, and it collapsed because gold as a currency created a lot of problems for the world economy. So it collapsed because gold prices fluctuate very rapidly. So it collapsed. It is replaced by dollar. So your question not relevant here. Still, I answered your question. Okay, and WTO has to cooperate with the many international economic institutions, right? IMF, World Bank, okay, in economic management, right? So the WTO has to cooperate with many other international economic institutions, and last important objective is the purpose of WTO is to facilitate developing countries achieve rapid economic development. Okay, achieve rapid economic development. Okay, so they take full advantage of their presence in the by being member of WTO. Developed countries should take complete advantage of their membership with the WTO as part of international trade. Okay. So now what are the guiding principles of World Trade Organization? Okay, what are the guiding principles of World Trade Organization? Okay, what are the guiding principles of World Trade Organization? Okay, so first principle: trade without discrimination. Okay, trade without discrimination. Okay, now how many countries are there? 164 countries are there. Okay, all countries should be treated equally. Okay, as part of WTO agreements, all countries should be treated equally. No country should be favored over other country. Okay, no country should be favored over other country by decreasing custom duty. Okay, for one of their products, you can't do that, right? And whatever you treat, all 164 member countries should be treated equally without favoring any particular country by decreasing their custom duty on products. Okay, you should treat all member countries so equally. Trade without discrimination means all member countries should be treated equally without any favor or prejudice. Without any favor or okay. So most favored nation means we discussed in last class, no? That all member countries should be treated equally without any favor or prejudice. Okay, so no discrimination, no discrimination. Giving special favor to any member country is incorrect. National treatment principle. 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 Okay, national treatment principle. Okay, now when countries as part of the international trade, they should not discriminate between foreign good and locally produced good. So okay, moment foreign goods enter into a country, you can't discriminate local good. You can't discriminate local good. You can't discriminate foreign good in place of domestic good. Okay, so once foreign goods enter into India, India should not discriminate foreign good in place of domestically produced good. Okay, so that is not correct. Okay, that is not correct. Okay, once foreign goods enter into India, India should not discriminate foreign good. India should not discriminate foreign good and prefer locally produced good. Okay, so same logic should be applied for services and trademarks and copyrights and patent. Okay, so goods, services, copyrights, patent. You should, while dealing international trade, you should not do any discriminate in favor of domestic good over foreign good. Okay, free trade. Okay, what we're discussing is guiding principles of World Trade Organization. Okay, okay. Now, free trade means what? I told you, no trade barriers. Okay, now how you remove trade barriers over a period of time through negotiations? Okay, you can remove all tariff and non-tariff barriers. You need to remove, right? You need to remove, okay, through negotiations. All member countries should remove all tariff, non-tariff barriers, and okay, and so no, such as custom duty, import bans, import quotas. Okay, so or any kind of quantity restrictions. Okay, we need to remove, right? So free trade. World trade is a champion of free trade. Okay, world trade always supports free trade. So free trade means what? There should not be any kind of tariff, non-tariff barriers. If any tariff, non-tariff barriers exist among the countries, that should be resolved through trade negotiations. And predictable trading system. Predictable trading system. Predictable trading system is okay, and okay. So predictable trading system means what? Trading system among the countries should be predictable. Predictable. Okay. It means that one country will not raise tariff barriers to prevent the entry of goods from other country into their country. One country, what they do, they increase the tariff barriers. Okay. Tariff barriers is a kind of a custom duty, right? A tax. Why I'm raising custom duty? To prevent the entry of other goods into my country, I increase tariff barriers. Okay. Okay, so when you increase tariff barriers, then what happens? Trading system becomes unpredictable. Okay, so when trading system becomes unpredictable, okay, that's not good for the country. Okay, that's not good for the country. Now consumers in the country, they want Chinese mobile to be supplied into India, right? So you are denying customers in India, consumers in India, Chinese mobile phone, Chinese solar system, or Chinese televisions, or Chinese electronic products, because you are spoiling the trading system by increasing the trade barriers, right? Now when you disturb the trading pattern system, when you disturb the predictable trading pattern by raising tariff barriers, what happens? Okay, so what happened? It creates problems for the foreign companies. Okay, it creates problems for the investors. It creates problems for the government. Okay, so government wants to, which government? Chinese government, right? Chinese government wants to export goods in India, right? And investors want to invest. Investors also want to invest in China because China exports a lot of goods and services, right? So foreign companies, they want to set up their factory into China, right? If countries rising trade barriers against China, then what happened? Foreign companies won't come to China, and investors won't invest in China, and government also will lose revenue because India increasing trade barriers. So we want a predictable trading system. Okay, that is good. If trading system is predictable, that is good for the investors, that is good for the foreign companies, that is good for the government. Okay, so if trading system is predictable, okay, then we can have a continuous investment, okay, which creates stability, okay, and consumers enjoy wide variety of goods and services. Beautifully explained. Okay. Principle of general prohibition of quantitative restrictions. Principle of general prohibition of quantitative restrictions. Okay. Now, countries indulge in export and import of goods and services. There should not be any quantitative restrictions. Okay, so quantitative restrictions. Okay, there should not be any kind of a quantitative restrictions on the export and import of goods and services. Okay, so no quantitative restrictions. Okay, you can have duties, taxes, and other charges, but no quantitative restrictions. Greater competitiveness. Okay, now world trade should be competitive. Okay, now world trade should be competitive means what? No country should give subsidies for the export. No country should give the subsidies for their domestic producers, domestic entrepreneurs. If you're giving subsidies, what happens? Your exports would become cheaper and other countries would suffer. Okay, this is what happened in China. Chinese government gives a lot of subsidies for their producers, and what happened? They're able to supply goods and services at a low cost. Okay, and much below the average cost, much below the sales cost, and through dumping, it is creating a lot of problems. Okay, China already follows artificial currency. Okay, their currency value is low comparison with other countries. On the top of this, what happened? Government of China provides a lot of subsidies. Okay, why government of India provides subsidies for the producers? So that they export more goods and services at a price lower than any other country in the world. Okay, so what happened? Other countries are suffering because they're not able to compete with China's pricing system, right? Price lines. Okay, China, other countries are not able to compete with the price lines of the Chinese government. They already follow artificially, the currency is artificially low. Moreover, China gives subsidies for their domestic firms. Okay, when you give subsidy, price of their good is very low in the world market. So other countries are not able to compete. So that is not a competitiveness. That is not a competitiveness. Moreover, China, what does it do? It dumps the commodity at much below the cost much below the cost, much below the sales price in the other countries. The price of the good is very high in their country, low in other countries, because they want to hurt the producers of other countries. Okay, tariff as a legitimate measure for the protection of domestic industries. Tariff as a legitimate measures for the protection of domestic industries. Okay, now suppose China recently dumped solar panels into India. So China dumped steel into India much lower price. Okay, when you're dumping much steel much lower price, India needs a protection. Why India needs a protection? Indian domestic steel producers are hurt because cheap steel is coming from China at cheaper price, and Indian steel price cost of production is high and price is high. What would happen? All the firms that require steel, they would rather prefer to buy from China than India. So it is hurting. In the process, it's hurting the domestic producers of steel in India. So if such kind of situation arises, India can impose tariffs. Okay, India can impose tariffs and try to reduce tariff on the basis of negotiation with China at the WTO forum. Okay, either negotiation with China directly or discuss the issue at World Trade Forum negotiations. Try to see that, Baba, don't dump steel into my country at much below the sales price, much below the cost of production, and even hurting my domestic entrepreneurs. Okay, and moreover, all member countries we discussed in last class are abided by bounded tariff, maximum tariff. Okay, so if any country rises beyond bounded tariff, they need to bring back to the bounded level through negotiations with the countries. Clear, guys? Clear? I made nice PPTs for you, guys. I made nice PPTs for you. Okay, I made nice PPTs for you. Okay, so go through my PPT. Okay, nicely explained and nicely made. Okay, transparency in decision making. Transparency in decision making. Okay, transparency in decision making. Okay, now whatever decision that member countries make should be transparent. Okay, and verifiable. Okay, so somebody, if India says that China is dumping steel at much below the sales price or much below the cost, and whatever decision they make, that should be transparent and verifiable. Means there should be proof that there is a proof that to show that China is really hurting through its actions. Progressive liberalization. Okay, progressive liberalization. Okay, now look at here. So there are many trade issues arising because of labor standards. Okay, labor standards in India is different from labor standards from USA, right? So India labor is relatively cheap and US labor is relatively costly. Okay, working conditions, salaries, wages, completely different, right? Now, so there are and non-agricultural market access, right? Every country wants to tap India's manufacturing sector. They want to capture India's industrial sector. Okay, they want access, right? Every country wants non-agricultural market access, right? They want to tap the industrial goods in India, manufacturing goods in India by exporting industrial goods. They want to export industrial goods and manufacturing goods into India. Okay, so a lot of disagreement, right? So a lot of disagreement. Okay, once they start exporting all industrial goods and manufacturing goods to India, our domestic producers will be hit. So this issues with regard to labor standards, non-agricultural market access. Okay, there is a lot of disagreement between the member countries. Okay, now this disagreement, especially between developing and developed countries, and they want to settle down. They want to settle this issue through Uruguay round. Okay, and discussions are going on. Okay, now market access. Okay, market access. What is the core principle of WTO, World Trade Organization? Okay, now promote the international trade. Okay, through liberalizations. Okay, and so entire global economy becomes a nationalized market. So nationalized market means free movement of goods and services among the member countries. Okay, there should not be any protectionism measure or tariffs. Protectionism measure or tariff. Okay, protectionism is what? Protecting the domestic economy. Okay, there should be any protectionism is what? Protecting domestic economy by imposing tariffs on the goods coming from the other countries. So all member countries should reduce tariff levels and provide market access. Okay, so providing market access to all other countries. Okay, and okay, so this is the core principle of WTO. Pooja, sorry, I did not understand principle of general prohibitions of quantity restriction. When you are asking, Pooja, principle of general prohibition and quantitative restrictions means there should not be any kind of a quantitative restrictions with regard to exports and imports of goods and services among the member countries. They can have tariff barriers, taxes, okay, and duties, okay, on their products, but there should not be any kind of a quantitative restrictions. Quantitative restriction means, okay, quantitative means what? Okay, you can't export beyond this quantity, you can't import beyond this quantity. This kind of quantitative restrictions should not be there. Clear? Okay. Okay. Special privileges to less developed countries. Okay. Now look at here. Now WTO comprises developed countries, developing countries, less developed countries. Developing countries, they have lack of human power, they lack infrastructure, okay, they have poor capital. So for them to transition requires longer time for less developed countries, right? They less developed countries, they need to transit, right? They have a poor infrastructure, lack of human resources, lack of capital resources, poor technology, poor machinery. So they require more help from the WTO, right? So WTO providing special privileges for less developed countries, okay, giving them more time so that they can adapt to the guidelines of WTO. Okay, so they need to be, they slowly they also become okay, they also transform their economy and adapt to the guidelines and principles laid down by the WTO. Okay, so this is what special privileges to less developed countries. Protection of health and environment. Now, you see, WTO as a body, they want to protect the health. Whose health? Human health, animal health, and take care of the environment. Okay, take care of the environment, including plant, human, animal health, okay, and environment. Okay, so trade should not lead to any decline in human, animal, plant, okay, and hurting the environment. Okay, hurting the environment. Okay, beautifully explained. My PPTs are very good. Please go through my PPT. Okay, this PPT I made so simple, right? So trade should happen among the member countries, but you should take care of human, plant health, human, animal, plant health, and also take care of environment. Okay, environment should be protected, right? So you know that environmental pollution, okay, causing by greenhouse gas emissions, right? So ozone layer is hurting us. So we need to protect the environment. No, Mansha. You to some extent both are same only. Less developed countries means developing countries. Yes, Mansha. Good question. Transparent, effective, and verifiable dispute settlement mechanism. Now, look at here. WTO 164 countries are there, 117 are developing countries. Always we fight. Always we fight. Okay, we always fight. We always blame each other. And whenever we meet in WTO trade negotiations, we always fight. Lot of disputes, lot of conflicts. Okay, and these disputes need to be resolved. Okay, and lot of misunderstanding arises among the member countries. Okay, with regard to rules and regulations, and with regard to products, services, intellectual property rights. Okay, now disputes need to be resolved. Okay, if we don't resolve the dispute, then world trade gets affected. So you need to resolve. You need to resolve all this dispute, okay, through negotiations, and if possible, you need to approach the expert committee of WTO, okay, and you need to appeal your case, and whatever solution they provide, whatever judgment they provide, everybody should abide by this, right? So there is expert judgment panel. If you're not able to resolve through negotiation, go and approach the next level is take up your case with the judgment panel of experts, and appeal your case, and appeal your case, and whatever decision given by the expert committee, all members should be abide by it. Sir, the one objective who is to look after the trade practices of every organization. Hitesh, World Trade Organization looks after the trade among the member countries. Okay, it facilitates trade. WTO looks after the trade, facilitates trade among the member countries. What trade? Not domestic trade, international trade. Okay, clear? Clear? We'll take a small break here. I want to discuss something today. You need to provide me answers for this, because right chapter, so I'll just teach you something else. Please consider. Is that does business with the view to be focused? Can you give me the answer for these 5 questions? Which of the sentence, all the sentences are right or wrong? I gave 5 sentences. These 5 sentences are right or wrong? Just take a break, because right technical chapter now I want to give a break to you. Okay? Can you try this? What is the answer for this? Fed is called the central bank, called as the central bank of US. It is considered as wrong here. He said, my missus is sleeping. It does business with a view to make profits. WTO comprises of many sections. Muktabas, what about 1, 2, 3, 4? All sentences are right? Why you are saying last one is right? Nobody's answering. God, nobody answering my question. Only Muktavyas, others are not answering. Mansha, what are you doing? You're not interested, then I'll teach. Don't want, I'll teach. No replies. No replies from your class. Nobody's answering. Oh God. Muktavyas, you answered only one. Hello. No one is answering here. Okay, let me hear the answers. Here are the answers. Okay. So called will never follow as. Okay. Please learn this. Most of you say called as, called as is incorrect English. Fed is called the central bank of US. Fed called will never follow as in English. Unfortunately, many teachers, many students say that called as is incorrect. Okay. Similarly, considered will not follow as. Considered will not follow as. Okay. So it is considered to be wrong, or it is considered wrong here. Okay. Either you say considered to be wrong here, or it is considered wrong here. Okay. Considered will not follow as. And you should not say my missus, you should say my wife. Okay. You should never say your wife as my missus. Okay. Unfortunately, many male people, many male population in India, my missus gone to market, my missus is sleeping. Okay. You have to say my wife. Okay. Even if she's RBI officer, okay, even if she's a chartered accountant, even if she's a doctor, okay, you should not say ma'am. Some people call wife as ma'am. Ma'am bahar gaya. Okay. My wife has gone out. Okay. You have to say my wife. Okay. Even if she's RBI governor, you have to say my wife. Okay. My wife. Okay. Ma'am has gone out. Okay. Ma'am. Okay. My wife. Okay. Okay. Next one is it does business. Does business. It's a problem with this again. With a view always with a view to always follows ing form with a view to making profits. With a view to making profits. With a view to making profits. It does business with a view to making profits. So which always follow gerund. With a view to always should come by ing form. Okay. So most of the books you refer with a view to make profits. No, with a view to making profits. Okay, gerund form. Okay. Now next, WTO comprises will never follow of. Consists of is right, but comprises of is incorrect. Okay, so WTO comprises many sections. Clear, please jot down, take a photo, this. Okay, clear, 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 understood, 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 guys. Yes, you need to give a reason, Yogita. How can you say right, wrong? You have to give reason also. Okay, understood. Hitesh, WTO consists of, consists of. You can say consists of. Whenever you say comprises, you should never follow of. You should never follow of. Okay, you should never say of. Clear? Clear, guys? Back. We'll take a break and come back. Okay? Take a break and come back. And I'll give you one more question here. You can answer. Okay? Please give me the answer for this. Please give me answer for this. Text me the answer for this. What is the answer for this? Can you give me answer for this, three? Jaldi, I want to tell you a story again today. Okay, answers. There is no good name, bad name. Okay, if someone is same of your age, then say what is your name. Okay, someone is elder to you, then say may I know your name. Okay, there is no good name, bad name. Okay, so आपका शुभ नाम क्या है, right? This word got translated in English and other languages. आपका शुभ नाम क्या है हिंदी में बोल सकते हैं. How can you say my name is bad? You can't say. Okay, and generally I forgot. You should not say. Somebody said in the class, I left my book at your home. Okay, and I'm going to have a dinner at 9 p.m. is incorrect. Okay, so I'm going to have supper at 9 p.m. Okay, 9 p.m. Why? What is the difference? Supper and dinner. Supper is a normal meal. Okay, dinner means special meal. Okay, why would your mother give you dinner every day? Right? Supper means normal meal. Festival time, birthday time, you might have dinner. Right? So supper means normal meal is called supper. But what you are saying, had your dinner, had your supper. Okay, had your supper, not dinner. Dinner is a special kind of meal. Okay, so generally taken during the special occasions like birthday, wedding. But we say dinner. That is incorrect. Okay, so we'll go back. So we discussed the WTO agreements covers the guiding principles we're covering. Okay, WTO organization. So it covers goods, services, intellectual property rights. Okay, and so WTO is trade rules. Okay, these are called WTO trade rules, and it has been described as rules-based system. Okay, and it's very voluminous, right? Big, huge. WTO rules book is very huge, and it comprises so many legal. See, I'm not using comprises of. I'm saying comprises. It comprises so much of legal text. Okay, and it comprises 60 agreements. Okay, and so much of annexures and undertakings, understandings, and decisions. Okay, it is a very huge, voluminous book. Okay, but we are going to cover major agreements of WTO. We're going to cover major agreements of WTO. Okay, major agreements. Okay, so agreements on agriculture. Okay, so what is the first agreement is on agriculture? Okay, so it's a commitment on the part of the member countries that each country gives access to the other countries with regard to market access, right? So other countries also wants to export agriculture products into India. India also wants to export wheat to other countries. We require market access, right? Market access. Generally, they won't give market access to India. They find our basmati rice, wheat, okay, is going to kill their entrepreneur, their farmers. They don't give access. Actually, you need to give access, because we export basmati rice, we export wheat, we export rice, okay, we export flowers, okay, and we export vegetables, fruits. Generally, we don't give. Countries won't give access because if we give access to the Indian agriculture products, then domestic agricultural farmers will be hurt. So, but you need to give access, okay, and you need to provide domestic support, right? For farmers in the country require domestic because they depend upon farming, which is uncertainty in nature. Okay, so farmers require a subsidy in fertilizers, electricity, okay, and they require support of warehousing, okay, and so government has to provide export subsidies for the farmers so that they can cultivate the agriculture products and export it to other countries. Agreement on the application of sanitary and psychosanitary, okay, psychosanitary, okay, agreement on the application of sanitary and psychosanitary, okay. Now, sanitary and psychosanitary is a very big term, but what is that? It relates to laws, decrees, and regulations requirements with regard to food safety, right? And see, so whatever being imported into the country, whatever food that is whatever products that are being imported into the country, food products, right? It should be safety, okay? It should not cause any health issues for the animal, for human beings, okay, and plants, right? So it should not cause any disturbance, okay, and okay, and so whatever products that are coming into India, India could have their own inspection, okay, whether these products are hygienic and safety to consume, right? Okay, and but when you okay, so India can say no to the products coming from the other country, but it has to provide scientific reason, right? They say that your product causes environmental pollution or cause human health, or it creates problems for the animal health, okay. So they need to give a scientific reason, right? Okay, they need to give scientific reason. You can't say because product is coming from China, that's why this product I won't accept. You should not impose arbitrarily or unjustifiable discrimination against any particular country. Agreement on textiles and clothing. Agreement on textiles and clothing. Okay, agreement on textiles and clothing, right? So agreement on textiles and clothing. See, earlier what happened? Regarding textile and clothing, there has been quota, right? No country is allowed to export beyond this quota, right? So this quota has been removed. This quota has been removed now. Completely agreement on textiles clothing has been deregulated. So deregulated and deregulated once so has been deregulated, which means and it is accessible to all the competitive players. Whoever produces the cloth garments at a low cost, he can export whatever quantity he wants. There is no quota system which was there earlier, right? So complete deregulation. So whoever produces the clothes garments at low cost, he can export more, okay, and okay, whoever is competitive in the garment sector, clothes sector, can export the goods, clothes and garments to anywhere, to any of the member countries. Agreement on technical barriers to trade. Agreement on technical barriers to trade. Okay, agreement on technical barriers to trade. Okay, Okay, so see, sometimes what happens, country unnecessarily imposes a lot of environmental safety quality standards, right? Using a lot of, they say that your product is not meeting safety standards, environmental standards, or quality standards, imposing a lot of restrictions on the basis of technical barriers. So if you impose a lot of technical barriers in the name of safety standards and quality, you are creating obstacles to the trade, which is not accepted. So which is against the principle of WTO. Agreement on trade related investment measures. Agreement on trade related investment measures. Okay, now, so any investment that is coming as part of the international trade, right? So that should not cause any kind of a distortion, restrict the trade, right? So any investment is coming as part of the trade related investment agreement, that should not cause any distortion to the trade, right? You can't put any quantitative restrictions, okay, quantitative restrictions on the investment coming into the country, or you say that this much of local content requirements required, or trade balancing requirements, okay, which violate the principle of WTO, right? So any trade related investments coming into the country, you should facilitate that, okay? You should not say that quantitative restriction, this much I can't allow, this much of beyond this much level of percentage of investment into the sector, or you say that you should make use of local available raw material to produce the goods in the country, or trade balancing requirements. Well, this kind of conditions I should not put. Anti-dumping agreement 6. Okay, now look at here. We discussed in last class, right? I told China is the number one culprit. Okay, in China always try to dump the goods into India at much below the sales price, at much below the average cost. They sell the product at a high price in their country and low price into India. And if India finds a sufficient evidence, okay, and if they can impose, they can. If India finds sufficient evidence, okay, that China is engaging in anti-dumping activities, okay, and anti-dumping activities, okay, and causing injury to the domestic trade, then India can take action. Okay, India can take action. Okay, India can take legal action against the dumping country. So how India comes to know? India has the price of the commodity that is being supplied by China into India, and price of the commodity in China. There is a price difference. So based upon this, India can prove that China is indulging in dumping and can take a legal action against the Chinese country. Agreement on pre-shipment and inspection. Agreement on pre-shipment and inspection. Now look at here. Now importing country. Who is importing country? India. India can engage its own agency to inspect the quality, value, price, tariff classification, and custom valuation, right? Products are coming from which country? Germany. Or products coming from China to India. Importing country, okay, can use pre-shipment inspection, right? Even before the products leave from China, products leave from Germany, Italy, India can use pre-shipment inspection. Using this, India using its own agency authority can examine the quality, value, price, tariff classification, and custom valuation of the products that are being exported from Germany into India, right? Now India can seek the India can see, importing country has every right to seek custom explanation from the custom office and issue certificates, okay, and can ask for the certificates, okay, with regard to quality, volume, price, tariff classification, and custom valuation. Agreement on rules of origin. Agreement on rules of origin. Okay, so you know that India countries discriminate the trade, saying that we don't allow products coming from China, we don't allow products coming from Pakistan, we don't allow products coming from Bangladesh. Okay, on the name of rules of origin. Okay, if countries discriminate products on the basis of rules of origin, okay, and again it creates a lot of obstacles to the trade. Okay, we require harmonization of non-preferential rules of origin, right? Okay, we want we want we want harmonization of non-preferential rules of origin, and to ensure such rules don't create obstacles for the trade. Agreement on import licensing and procedures. Okay, import licensing and procedure, right? So import licensing. Okay, so when we're importing commodity, import licensing procedure should be simple and transparent and predictable, right? So you can't say that we don't allow India to import gold. Okay, at one point of time, and sometimes we can say gold can be imported. If there are so many gold merchants, they import gold from the other countries and make jewelry out of it. If you create unpredictable importing licensing, right? Sometimes you can import for 10 tons of gold only, sometimes you say 5 tons of gold, sometimes you say 30 tons of gold, right, to be imported. Then gold merchants will be affected because they make jewelry out of this gold. You need to create no import licensing procedure should be simple and it should be predictable, so that gold merchants can plan their business, can plan their venture. Okay, we'll take a break again. Before I want to ask you. Okay, next item of the program is 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 musical, is traditional music dance by the students. Find the answers for this. Just think about the answers for these two, whether these two questions are right or incorrect. will take a break, sir. Hello? Hello, sir. Welcome back after the break. Okay. And we'll discuss these answers later. Let me finish this. Okay. So we discussed till now. Subsidies we discussed. We discussed on licensing, right? And it should be simple, right? Should not cause any kind of disturbance for the importers in the country. Now, agreement on subsidies and countervailing duties, right? Sometimes what happened, we discussed in last class, no, the countries like China gives a lot of export subsidies for the domestic producers, and their exports are very competitive and affordable. So it is hurting all the other countries of the world. Right? If you found that China is helping the domestic producers by providing subsidies and hurting the making the export prices are affordable, cheaper. So then it is disturbing it is hurting the domestic entrepreneurs and domestic producers in India, right? When I find that China deliberately John Butchker exporting goods and services at a cheaper price in India because Chinese government provides subsidies for their country. I can if I prove this, if I can take up this issue under WTO dispute settlement procedure, okay, and ask China to withdraw subsidy for their domestic entrepreneurs, okay, or else what I can do, I can impose countervailing duties, okay, to see that China's subsidies are negated by increasing tariff on their goods, so that my domestic entrepreneurs are protected. Okay, and agreement on safeguards. Okay, now. Agreement on safeguards. Suppose I can impose safeguards regulations on the imports that are coming from the China and other countries. If it is really, if the sudden rise in imports into my country from China, it is hurting my country, I can impose some kind of a safeguard mechanism and measures to control the surge in imports from China. General agreement on trade in services. Okay, now, so the service sector is booming across the world economy, right? So trade, so services also need to be traded. Service means what? Banking, insurance, IT, information technology, brokerage. Okay, banking, insurance, transportation, and IT, information technology. Okay, so there should be a suitable dispute mechanism, okay, to solve any issues arising out of trade in service. Agreement on trade, agreement on trade related aspects of intellectual property rights. Okay, now all member countries should assure a minimum protection of intellectual property rights of other member countries, right? Suppose I discovered something, it becomes my intellectual property of India, right? Other member countries should ensure that intellectual property rights are not violated. Okay, this could be applicable to copyrights, trademarks, patents, geographical indications, industrial and layout designs. Okay, so any trade secret, right? So all member countries should ensure that intellectual properties are not violated and copyrights are protected, trademarks, patents, geographical indications, industrial and layout designs, and undisclosed information or trade secret. Understanding rules and procedures governing settlement of disputes. Okay, so So WTO should provide common rules and procedures so that for settlement of disputes arising out of a trade among the member countries. Trade policy review mechanism. Okay, WTO should conduct trade policy review mechanism, periodical trade policy review mechanism. Okay, and mechanism. Okay, for the member countries. Unilateral trade agreements. Unilateral trade agreements. Okay, unilateral trade agreements involve several countries, but not all the countries are the members of WTO. Okay, so the unilateral trade agreements involve several countries with common interest, but all member countries of WTO are involved. This common interest related to civil aircraft. Okay, some countries require civil aircraft. Okay, or government procurement. So they have a unilateral trade agreement among the several countries, but not all WTO countries are part of this unilateral trade agreements. Okay, so a smaller group of countries with they may need assistance with regard to government procurement or civil aircraft. So this is the overview of agreements. Now, WTO achievements and concerns, right? So I told you, WTO are resulting in spectacular growth of trade, okay, trade of goods and services, and remarkable increase in global value chain. I told you, car design was done in USA, components come from South Korea, and car assembling will happen in China. India lacks global value chain. I told you, India is good at exporting traditional items. India lacks global value chain, where products are getting ready from 3 different parts of the country. That is called global value chain, right? Remarkable increase in global value chain. Okay, and increasing purchasing power of the consumer. Lot many choice of goods are available. You see that mobile phones, cars. Okay, you see mobile phone, cars. Okay, you see variety of products are available with regard to watches, electronic goods. Okay, and TVs, and you see that you can buy anywhere. You can have a television set, car from Europe or US or Germany or any part of the country. Lot many choices are available because of thanks to international trade. Consumer sitting in India can order a car from England. Okay, bench car, whatever car he wants, he can order. Okay, and countries which have become part of WTO have taken far-reaching reforms and far-reaching reforms and opening their market and indulging a lot of research, and of course poverty reduction. Now poverty reduction happened because of World Trade Organizations. But WTO concerns, okay, but WTO is not able to resolve trade imbalances among the countries. US has a trade deficit, current account deficit with China. I told you trade deficit means the difference between export and import of goods. Current account deficit means difference between exports and imports of goods and services. So WTO as a body not able to resolve trade imbalances among the member countries. India has a trade deficit with China, okay, and US has a trade deficit with India, right? So WTO is not able to address this issue at all, okay, and the progress of multilateral trade has been very slow. Okay, and it requires a lot of consensus agreement among the members that multilateral trade agreements are not happening. Okay, of course, whatever multilateral trade agreements that happened, okay, it reduced the tariff on industrial goods and and the achievement in liberalizing trade in agriculture, textiles, apparel, and many other areas of international commerce has been negligible, right? They're able, through whatever multilateral trade agreements that took place, were able to reduce tariff on industrial products, and we were able to liberalize the trade, okay, trade in agriculture, okay, and textiles and apparel, but many other areas of international commerce has been negligible. Okay, so the complex network of regional trade agreements, okay, creating a lot of uncertainties and murkiness in global trading system. Okay. Now WTO concerns we are discussing, and so the negotiations such as Doha round development have run into problems, and they're different to successes develop. Whatever Doha round meetings happen, the success rate is doubtful. What are the concerns of developing countries? Okay, now I told any recession happened in US or Europe, they say be American, buy American. They're imposing protectionism policies. Country like US is saying be American, buy American because of recession in their economy. It means they're asking American people, please don't import any goods from India and China. So protectionism really hurting the trade on the world trade in the world market. Okay, and there are difficulties in implementation of agreements. Okay, and there is a divide between developed countries and developing countries. Okay, so and there are high tariffs on products really hurting the trade. Okay. And especially developed countries, they charge low tariff on raw materials and high tariff on finished goods of products coming from developing countries. Developed countries are charging low tariff on raw materials that is coming from India, exporting from India, but high tariff on finished goods. They want developing countries like India to remain only export raw materials, not to export finished goods. This discrimination has been happening. Okay, and erosion of reference varies. Okay, erosion of reference varies. Developed country. Okay, generally developed countries used to give special privileges with regard to tariff for the developing countries. That has been eroding. This on products on products coming from developed countries, they used to give a special tariff concessions that is getting eroded. Okay, they're not giving this. Okay. Okay, and in addition to about WTO global trading systems are affected by unilateral measures. Okay, so countries taking their own measures to punish other country, right? You see how India punished China's invasion of Ladakh. India took a unilateral decision not to ban Chinese apps, Chinese goods and services. So India is taking unilateral decisions, okay, because China's invasion of Ladakh. That is the reason. But India is taking unilateral action to prevent Chinese goods and services coming to India. Similarly, US also taking unilateral actions to prevent goods coming from China to US. Right? They're taking unilateral actions means on their own without even consulting WTO, without informing WTO the problems faced by the country. There is going a lot of uncertainty right now. The war between US and Russia and Ukraine, okay, it's creating a lot of uncertainty environment. Now countries will think twice to. Now China is now again into lockdown. Okay, now Russia and Ukraine war, it is resulting in a kind of uncertainty in the environment of investment. And e-commerce is not part of the WTO, right? So India, Amazon company India cannot export goods and services to US and Europe, right? Amazon is only serves in the country only. Amazon is not allowed to. Amazon operations in India not allowed to export goods and services to Pakistan, Sri Lanka, or US and England. Okay. Okay, and there is ongoing stalemate in the appointment of members of appellate board of this board. Okay, who are the members of appellate body of WTO, right? Appellate body of WTO. There is a conflict who have to be appointed as members. There is ongoing conflict among the member countries. Okay, coming back to questions. Okay, discuss. Okay, practice question. Discuss various types of regional trade agreements. Okay, what are the objectives of WTO? What are the various guiding principles of WTO? Give an overview of various WTO agreements. Discuss the achievements of WTO. What are the various concerns of WTO? Discuss the structure of WTO. Okay, So this kind of questions you can practice. Very technical chapter. I made a beautiful PPT. So read my PPT, read my PPT, read my PPT. Okay, read my PPT. Let me take these questions first, then we can go for MCQs. Right. So this was okay. The next item of the program is traditional music dance by students. Right. There is error in this. This mistake happens in school days. Right. People are anchoring the program. They say next item of the program. Right. No, that is incorrect. Okay. So the correct one is the next item on the program, not of the program. Okay. So people say next item of the program. Okay, that's incorrect English. Okay, school days, college days, anchor person who's anchoring the show. Next item of the program. Next item on the program. I got a mail from Smita. I got mail from Smita because mail is both singular and plural. So no A is required. Okay, mail is a word like news, plural. Okay, Dr. C. Anirvinna is professor at Manipal University. Okay, so mistake. Dr. Mr. Mrs. doesn't require full stop. Dr. Mr. Mrs. Doctor or Mr. Doctor or Mr. Mrs. doesn't require full stop. Okay. Similarly, Dr. Mr. Mrs. or Professor doesn't require full stop. Okay. Clear? See, Amrita, Doha round is meant for trade negotiations. Okay, so when the Doha round, don't read much into Doha round. Okay, the Doha round trade negotiations issues have not been resolved. Amrita, Doha round, okay, is meant for trade negotiations. Last time when Doha round happened, okay, trade negotiations have not been resolved. Now let us go to MCQs. Group of countries that have free trade agreement between themselves and may apply common external tariff to other countries. A, free trade area. A, free trade area. B, custom union. C, trade bloc, and D, regional preferential trade agreements. What is the answer for first one? A group of countries that have free trade agreements between themselves may apply common external tariff to other countries. A, free trade area, B, custom union, B, trade bloc, and D, regional preferential trade agreements. Hitesh, check the answer. One C, trade bloc. Regional trade preferential agreements, under which union they have or follow a common monetary policy and fiscal policy. 2, economic union, right. National treatment principle says A, imported goods, domestic goods should be treated equally. B, export goods and imported goods should be treated equally. Imported goods and domestic goods should be treated equally. Internal trade is more important than international trade. 3, third question answer. What is the answer for third question? National Treatment Principle says, NTP says. Pooja, whether you whatever I teach is whatever I know. Please, okay, go and refer Oxford Dictionary. Okay, where Doctor, Mr., Mrs. doesn't require full stop. Okay, yeah, okay. Olden English they used to write. Now it's not a big mistake. If you put full stop, you want to put, but nobody writes full stop of Doctor, Mr., Mrs. Okay, and I speak whatever I know. Okay, to increase transparency of decision-making process, to cooperate with other major international economic institutions involving global management, and to help developing countries benefit fully from global trading system. What is the answer for fourth one? What is the answer for fourth one? Yes, fourth is A. Total number of countries under WTO currently 164, 171, 169, and 161. I don't understand what you're saying, Pooja. How many countries are there? Fifth question. Fifth is A. Unilateral trade agreements. A. Importing country provides incentives to exporting country. Exporting country provides incentives to importing country. Importing country leaves tariff on exporting country. Exporting country leaves tariff on importing country. 6A, right. WTO comprises, you see, no of. See, WTO comprises. I never said of. WTO comprises. I never said, you see, comprises majorly developed countries, underdeveloped countries, developing countries, equally both developed and developing countries. See, developing countries. Which of the following is outside of the WTO? Wheat, information technology, palm oil, and e-commerce. Which of the following is outside the WTO? Which of the following is outside of WTO? Eight D. Free trade implies no trade barriers, include tariff, but no tariff barriers. Include non-tariff barriers, but no to tariff barriers. None of the above. What is the answer for ninth one? Nine A is right. The secretary to WTO is based in Geneva, Moscow, Italy, France. What is the answer for 10th one? 10-1A, right. So let me take you to the recap again. Where is my PPT? Here visible. Okay, so we discussed. Just I want to give a recap. I gave an introduction here, and we discussed various regional trade agreements here. Okay, what is regional trade agreement? We discussed definition and different types of regional trade agreements: unilateral trade agreement, bilateral trade agreement, regional preferential trade agreement, trading bloc, free trade area, custom union. It's all we discussed. After this, we also discuss types of regional trade agreements. Common market, economic union, and next we discussed what is GATT and WTO. We discussed structure of WTO. We discussed here. Ministerial Conference, General Council, Goods Council, Service Council, and IP Council. Now, structure of WTO we discussed in detail. Okay. Objectives of WTO we discussed. The guiding principles of WTO trade organization we discussed. Trade without discrimination, national treatment principle, free trade, predictable trading system, principle of general prohibition of quantitative restrictions, greater competitiveness, tariff as a legitimate measure for the protection of domestic industries, transparency in decision making, progressive liberalization, market access, special privileges to less developed countries, protection of health and environment, transparent and effective verifiable dispute settlement mechanism. The guiding principle of all trade organizations, and we discussed here. We discuss agreements. Okay, various major agreements of WTO: agreement on agriculture, agreement on application of sanitary and psychosanitary. Okay, agreement on textiles and clothing, agreement on technical barriers to trade, agreement on trade-related investment measures, anti-dumping agreement seeks, agreement on pre-shipment inspection (PSI), agreement on rules of origin, agreement on import licensing and procedures, agreement on subsidies and countervailing measures, and agreement on safeguards, general agreement on trade in services, agreement on trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights, understanding rules and procedures of governing the settlement of disputes, trading policy review mechanism, unilateral agreements. Okay, WTO achievements we discussed and concerns. WTO concerns, conclusion, practice questions. Okay. Okay. Today I want to share with you decision making is the most difficult aspect of human life. Right? Decision making is very difficult, right? Some people don't know. Some people don't know whether to eat puri or dosa. Some girls don't know whether to select yellow or red color dress. Okay, people don't know. Okay, they like both puri and dosa. They don't know how to make a dish. So a girl likes both yellow color dress and red color dress, but you have to make a decision. But you have to choose one. You have to choose one, right? Either dosa or puri, or red color or yellow color dress. Okay, So decision making is the most difficult aspect of life. Okay. Now, so what happens if you don't know how to make a decision? You ask your mama, you ask your papa, you ask your brother. Okay. They may say, take puri. Okay. They may say you buy yellow color dress. You like red color dress. They might ask you to buy yellow color dress. You like to have dosa. They're asking you to eat puri. Okay. So what people do? People tend to depend upon others for their decision making. Okay, so if you depend upon others, suppose I ask you to eat dosa and you would like to have puri, again it creates a conflict in your mind, right? Suppose I ask you to buy yellow color dress and you like red color dress, again it creates a conflict. What I mean to say is, okay, what I mean to say is, uh, you need to make a decision. Okay, you need to learn how to make a decision. Okay, whether your decision is right or wrong, you have to make it. Okay, please don't depend upon others. It might cause you confusion. You have to make a decision. Okay, so why people depend upon others? Because they don't want their decision is incorrect. Okay, you need to make a decision on your own, right? You need to make a decision. Whatever decision that you make, you need to make on your own. Okay, once you make a decision to eat dosa, don't even think of puri. Once you make a decision to buy a red colored dress, don't even think of yellow color dress. Okay? No, it's not the problem of choice, Mansha. Problem is you don't know how to make a decision. Okay? You don't know how to make a decision. The problem is you like both dosa and puri, right? You have to make a one decision. Okay? So my suggestion is if you depend upon others, when you will grow in life, okay, when you will grow in life, to grow yourself in life, you need to make a decision. Okay, so I'm saying that even difficult for me, right? Okay, you need to make a decision. Okay, some people, they don't know whether to go to movie or whether to go to restaurant, right? They are also confused, right? So you need to make a decision. The moment you start making a decision, you will grow in life. Okay, to grow in your life, you have to make a decision. Okay, you have to make a decision. Okay, tell you. Okay, now story time. Okay, guys. So I have one of my students, okay, who completed BCom. Okay, so he appeared for bank entrance. Okay, So he got selected for SBI clerical job. Okay, so he got selected for SBI clerical job, and he has to appear for interview at SBI New Delhi, Janakpuri branch. Okay. Okay. And he has to appear for the interview. So interview means what? Lot of nervousness. Okay. Lot of tension, butterflies. Okay. I love this word called butterflies in stomach. Lot of nervousness. Okay. So he has to appear for the interview. First question they ask him is, tell me something about yourself. Okay. So wrong. Tell me something about yourself. Okay. And most of you don't know how to answer your questions. Tell me something about yourself means you need to tell something that is not there in your CV. Right. Tell me something about yourself means why should I hire you for this job? So you need to highlight your skills, right? So tell me something about yourself. So he says blah 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 blah. My name is Tom. I'm a BCom and I pass this accounting course. I'm good at tallying. Okay, I'm good at numericals. Everything. Blah 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 blah. Is it? Okay. Blah 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 blah. Is it? And the second question. Second question was the most difficult. Second question what they asked, 8 3 sir. Okay, bank job, no, they asked 8 3 sir. They asked 8 3 sir. Okay, so Ram has so much of butterflies in his stomach, that is nervousness. That is nervousness. Okay. Okay, so it's nervousness. So much of butterflies in stomach and nervousness. Instead of saying 24, he says 23. 23. And okay, 23. 23. Then they say, Ram, thank you very much. You can leave. So Ram returned home. Father, mother, grandfather, grandmother, everybody is waiting for him. They asked him, बेटा कैसे हुआ इंटरव्यू? इंटरव्यू अच्छा था. पहला question they asked me something about yourself. I answered correctly. And second question they asked me 8 3 sir. I was so nervous, so tensed. Instead of saying 24, I said 23. Everybody, oh God, how did you miss this lollipop? Oh God, इतना आसान सवाल कैसे गलती किया? Everybody says this thing, and he goes into depression. Okay, we should never go into depression. Okay, life is big, right? We all of us go into depression. Okay, we don't achieve something in life, we go into depression. So Ram also goes into depression. We should never go into depression. So to overcome depression, you should talk to your bhaiya, sister, papa, mama, uncle, who is close to you. You should talk, or you should talk to your teacher. Okay, you should talk to your teacher. Guru se bhi baat kar sakte. So Ram goes into depression because he missed such a easy question. So it goes into depression. When you go into depression, you don't know when is morning, when is afternoon, when is evening, and when you're going to brush your teeth. लंच का टाइम में ब्रेकफास्ट खाते हो, शाम को लंच खाते हो, और वो भी ढंग से नहीं खाते हो. You don't eat well also, and you will be always inside the room. You lock yourself inside the room. You don't talk to anyone. Okay, you grow beard. Okay, you don't talk to anyone. So Ram also into depression. That how come I missed this question? How come I missed this question? Okay, how come I missed this How come I missed this question? Is into depression. And father, mother are worried. Are chhod do yaar, you try other job. Bang, God may give you better job. Don't bother about this job. Apply for railway entrance exam. Apply for insurance company entrance. Okay. Apply some other jobs. Don't worry. Parents are saying, but he thinks, I made a mistake. How could I say 8 threes are 23, 8 threes are 24? He's angry with himself, depression, and he grows beard, and he's not eating well. He doesn't comb his hair. It doesn't come outside the home. It doesn't talk to anyone. He shuts his door inside the room, and parents are worried. Grandparents are worried. He's into depression. You should never fall into depression. Please understand. Okay, you should never fall into depression. Okay, when you fall into depression, that's the worst phase of your life, right? So you should avoid depression. You should never fall into depression. Okay, all problems we need to face in life. Okay, all problems we need to face in life. So he's in depression. So one day what happens? Mama enters his room. अरे बेटा आपके लिए कुछ खबर आया. Some courier has received. Okay, so my mother keeps the cover on his pillow, and she leaves the room, and he gets up. He gets up in the evening and opens the cover. And when he opens the cover, it's offer letter from SBI. Offer letter from SBI. Was stunned. Array, is there any spelling mistake, address mistake, sex mistake? You should have gone to Ramani. My name is Ram. Koi spelling galti likha hai, or sex mistake, address mistake, spelling mistake. How could they give offer letter for me? I don't know 8 threes are. So Ram is really confused. Okay, then he is been asked to come to Delhi branch on 1st May. So Ram goes into the bank morning 8 o'clock only. So bank is not open. Bank opens at 10:30. So bank open 10:30. He meets the manager, and he joins as a clerk in the bank, and he started working. He knows there's something mistake in this. Okay, he got somebody's job by mistake. They sent him an offer letter. He is not able to believe that he got the job. Okay, after working, and is so much of worry inside that Sunday he'll be asked to leave. So after a few months, 1 year later, so manager gives a call. Ram, could you see me? So he thinks that, so now this is the last day for his job. So he goes to manager. Manager gives him a letter. Okay, sir, when he opens the letter, it is a confirmation of job. Ram could not believe. Hey, my job got confirmed. Bhagavan, my job got confirmed. Okay, Bhagavan, sir. Thank you, thank you, Ram. Congratulations, Ram. Thank you, sir. You are one of the persons of my intro panel. First question was asked, tell me something about yourself. I answered that question correctly. The second question you asked me 8 threes are. I was so nervous. I could not answer 24 in nervous. I said 23 with a lot of tension, and you asked me to leave. Ram, on the day 721 candidates came for interview, we asked all 721 students same question, and your answer was the closest answer. Guys, life is near to perfection. Life can never be perfect. Life is near to perfection. Please understand, life can never be perfect. Life can be near to perfection. Please don't think life is perfect. Life is imperfect. Life is full of uncertainties. No guarantees. Life is imperfect. You need to accept 8 threes or 23 happens to be the closest answer. That's the reason why he got the job. Life is imperfect. Life is uncertainties. Okay. Life is full of fights. You need to fight. You need to fight. Praying God. You need to fight. Life is near to perfect. Life can never be perfect. Please believe in this. Life can never be perfect. Life is imperfect. Okay. You need to accept that. Okay. You need to accept that, and you need to work hard to achieve your goal. You need to keep on praying God. Okay, there is no substitute for hard work. You need to keep on working. Okay, don't think that life is perfect. Life is always imperfect. Okay, it's imperfect for you, imperfect for me. We need to accept life like this. Okay, hope you like my moral story. Okay, person with empty pockets can make decisions. What question you are saying, Mansha? Okay, like person with empty pockets. Why would you think of dosa and puri, Mansha? Try to understand. If I don't have money, I won't even think of puri dosa, right? Okay. I won't even think of puri dosa. I don't have money. I'm talking about decision making in sense. Some people don't know how to make a decision because they're afraid of failure. Clear, understand? You like my story? Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Okay. And thank you for listening to me. Thank you very much. Sir, can we end, sir? Thank you, students. Good night. Hello? Hello? Yes, sir. See you tomorrow.